Well, hello, everybody. Welcome to Teaching the Scriptures. My name is Brian Smith, and I am honored to be your instructor over the next 8 weeks. And I can't wait to get to know you and actually get to see you teach. Now, every week I'm going to do a video and got a lot to cover. So let's jump right into a bunch of things. The first thing, well, who am I? Um, I am, first of all, most importantly, a husband to my wife Elizabeth, who is a full-time instructor at Moody. She runs the children's ministry department on the Chicago campus. She also does online. Maybe some of you have had her. My oldest son Caleb just got married. My youngest son Josh is a student at Moody, and the middle daughter Caitlin, she is at Anderson University in Indiana, and she's getting married this December. I also am the pastor of a church called Valley Brook Community Church. So I'm a pastor and I teach some college classes. Most importantly, a husband and a father. All right. Oh, I'm going to have you do a introductory post on the class interaction section, and I want you to give us something really interesting about yourself. And what I chose was that I live in a town called Batavia, Illinois, and in Batavia we have a pig. His name is Piggly Brown, and everywhere I go, I run into Piggly. So I take a picture when I can. There's a petition to make him wear a leash, and the farmer doesn't want him to wear a leash. Piggly has his own Facebook page, so he's quite a phenomenon. So that's my interesting thing. All right. Next, let's talk about your reading. There are two required textbooks, Creative Bible Teaching by Richards and Bredfeld. You can get the hardcover, or I think there is a Kindle version. This one, there is not a Kindle version. It's a soft cover, The Teaching Genius of Jesus by Bill Allison. So you'll have to order that probably through Amazon. Sometimes it's tough to get a hold of. Just do your best. All right. Now here's kind of the meat and potatoes of where we're going in this class. You're going to learn a lot of things about teaching, and then you are going to do a lesson. You're going to teach a lesson. In fact, let me put the grading scale up here. Here are all the assignments over 8 weeks. And let me just have you focus in on some important things. One, if you take a look at class participation, which would be your reading, you do a weekly content report reporting how much you've read, along with discussion boards, that's 25% of your grade. Most of the grades are smaller, 3 to 6%, but the biggest other grade is actually teaching the lesson. Week 6, you will teach a lesson. That's 15% of your grade. Just a little bit on that. You need right now to secure an opportunity to teach, hopefully through your church. Maybe you're already in a small group. Maybe you already teach a Sunday school class. It does not have to be to adults. It could be to the children's ministry. It could be a sermon, though I'd prefer it to be in more of an interactive situation in a classroom. Could be a small group, could be senior citizens, but you need to nail that down and try and get that scheduled for week 6. All right. Now, part of preparing for teaching the lesson involves writing a lesson plan. In week 3, you're going to do the hook book paper. We'll talk about what that means, but that's 7%. And then the look took paper, which is another 5%. So by the time you do your class participation, the lesson, and the lesson plan, that's over half your grade. So just, you need to know that's kind of the pinnacle of what we are headed for. In week 3, week 5, and week 6, I'm going to post the same video. It's about a half hour of how to write a lesson plan. In fact, if you want to know really the essence of the content of the class, understanding and looking at that video would be helpful. Some of you may want to even go to week 3 and look at it now. But that's a little bit on where we're headed, a little bit of grading and understanding how important a lesson plan is. Okay. One more thing on that. I do want your lesson plan or your lesson video to be 30 minutes or under. Now, so that's going to involve you recording it. Maybe you want to have somebody do that on their iPhone or on a laptop, or maybe you have a professional TV studio. I don't know how you want to do it, but you need to start figuring out how and who is going to videotape it. And then some of the elements of a lesson plan, like if you're a youth group and you want to have an icebreaker that takes 15 minutes, cut that part out, or maybe just leave the intro in there, but cut that out because you only want to send me 30 minutes. I don't need to see every element, or let's say you form them into groups and they discuss. And that's just dead air. I just want a 30-minute video. So you need somebody to videotape it and maybe help you edit it down to 30 minutes. You're going to probably upload that to YouTube and send a link to it through Blackboard. Okay. One more thing, you are going to also need an observer. Not your mom, not your grandma. They'll go too easy on you. But you want somebody to observe the lesson, and they're going to fill out an evaluation. Okay. Hopefully they can be honest and you'll still be friends afterwards. All right. So that's the lesson that we're headed toward. I have no way to contact you personally except through Moody email. So I've had students sometimes go the entire semester without checking their Moody email, and there's been correspondence, there's been questions about grades, and you need to check your email. Another reason you need to check your email, Moody email, is you'll be working in groups for a couple of assignments, and it's not fair for, let's say you have a group of 4, 3 of them are interacting, and you check in finally at the end of the week and they've done all the work. So can you please check your email? I'm going to say daily. Check your announcements daily. Okay. All right. So now let's talk about the first week of the class. There are 7 things you need to do in week 1. First one is very simply introduce yourself. You go over here to community posts and it will take you to a discussion board. Here's where all your discussion boards are going to be. And class introductions is the first one. Then there's others that will appear down here for the different weeks. But for class introductions, click on class introductions. You just simply click on create a thread and put your name in the subject box, and then tell us about yourself. Tell us where you live. Tell us maybe how far along you are at Moody. Have you always been online, or have you been on the campus? Have you been out at Spokane? Tell us something. I want you to all tell us something interesting about yourself. If you read mine, there's something you would never guess about me, so you got to read that. All right, so that's your introduction. If you could please post a picture, it's nice to see who your classmates are. The way you do that is you go to this little icon here, and it's insert an image. You click on it, and then you find an image, and you have to, you can browse your computer and put a picture of yourself up there. So that's helpful. And then when you post this, interact with one another and say hi. So the first thing is post a community post. Second thing, every week you will do a content report. So let's say week 1. Week 1 has all your assignments for week 1. So a content, so here's class introductions, and then a content report is you're just reporting how much of the reading you've done. So here's what you have to read. Week 1, Allison, chapter 1, Breadfelt, chapter 5, and then these other articles are available for you online. Just click on them and it should take you there. And then to report your reading, you simply click on the link and it says I did all, some, most, half, none of the reading. And remember, that adds up over time. All right, so that's number 2. The third thing that we want to talk about is assigning yourself to a group. I think you get a point to do this, but all you're doing is you're going into self-assign, and we're going to have 4 groups. Do not worry about these verses right here, okay? And I believe we want 4 in each group. So if you go to a group, there's already 4 in there, go to the next group, or go to the next group. Again, don't worry about these verses. I'll talk about that in a moment. So self-assigning yourself to a group, how hard is that? You get a point. You've almost already passed the class by now, okay? All right, now the next thing, number 4, says passage selection. And it's going to have you, it's asking you to select from one of these 4 passages. Don't do it. We're all going to do the same passage. And I'm going to do that as the benevolent dictator of the class. I'm going to choose Matthew 5:13 through 16. That's where Jesus says, you're the light of the world, you're the salt of the earth. Great passage. So you do not even need to go and do the passage selection. I will go in and manually give everybody 1 point. I think you do get 1 point for passage selection, but we're all going to do Matthew 5, so we're all on that same page. All right. Then moving along to number 5, the 5th thing you need to do is a paper. It's a reflection paper on the question, why teach the Bible? Now, I'm going to add a little something to this that's going to help you. This is a rather open-ended question, why teach the Bible? What I want to do is give you some verses to actually interact with in your paper, okay? So, for example, 2 Corinthians 5:20 talks about us being ambassadors. What's the term ambassador communicate about the content of our teaching? So do some study on that word ambassador and reflect on it. Acts 20:27. What's this passage teach about our motive? Add that. 2 Timothy, all scripture is God-breathed. How does that affect what we teach? So touch on each of these verses in your paper. Try to keep it to 2 pages. And it's going to end up being really a theology of teaching the Bible. Okay? And then number 6. Let's talk about the next thing. You've got a blog. Now week 1, it's not a discussion board. It's actually a blog. In essence, it's a different format where you are going to be interacting with one another, but you're doing it in the form of a blog article. So imagine you have a blog and you have some followers, and you are going to post answering 1, 2, or 3 of these questions on the passage in Matthew 5. Then you are going to interact with other people's blog posts who are in your group. So where do you go to do that? Well, you can go through your group over here, click on your group, and it will take you to one of your 4 groups. Let's say you're in group 2. You click on group 2. There's these blue boxes. Group tools, there is group blog, and you go to group blog. There's some instructions, and you create your blog entry here. You know, blog posts with pictures and links are kind of fun. So if you can put some creativity into it, that would make your readers a little more likely to read your post. Okay. All right. One last thing for this week. You are supposed to take attendance, required. So read this announcement, do this attendance thing, and you are good to go for week 1. God bless you. Can't wait to get to know you.